everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and here on my YouTube channel, and this is part 2 of our new Icon DAW controller series. This is the V1-M, and this time around in part 2, we're also going to take a look at the extender here to my left, the V1-X. If you missed part 1, where we took a look at the V1-M, did a basic walkthrough, took a look at the fit and finish, and my first impressions, link will be in the description box below. In this video, I'm going to show you the focus mode and what that does, and how that's a cool, easy way to control your plugin parameters. Also show you the extender now that we have 16 faders in front of us, and then also show you how you can customize your touchscreen over here so you have all your favorite DAW commands. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So before we get started, like, share, subscribe. Also, if this is your first time here, go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Get that free mixing course. It's right at the top of the homepage. It says free training. Can't miss it. It's a $100 course. I'm giving it to you absolutely free. If you stick around till the end of the video, I'm going to give you something else for free. Full disclosure, Icon did send me these 2 units here so I could do this review for you, but as always, they don't pay me for the video. This will probably be given away at one point as part of a contest of some kind. So, but they don't pay me for the video. They don't get to see the video before it goes live, blah, blah, blah. You know how it works here. And also remember, if you, about a year or so ago, if you checked the playlist in the description box, we did a 3 or 4 part video series on the Icon Q-Con Pro X. This is the new updated version of that, which is called the V1-M. And it's just freaking awesome compared to the other one. It's great. So, let's talk a little bit about what we have in front of us here. So now this time around, unlike the first video, I've added here the 8 channels of extension. This is the V1-X, and this gets set up the same way as the V1-M. When you first power it on, you want to hold down encoder number 4, keep it depressed while you turn it on. That will bring up on the LCD screen, the meter bridge here, that will bring up the operating system, Windows or Mac. Choose your appropriate operating system for your rig. You only have to do that the first time, and then you don't have to do it again. Same thing with the V1-M. If you didn't see the first video, you have to do it on each unit separately so they're both on the same operating system. Once you do that, you're going to go into your IMAP software. Now remember, the IMAP software has to be downloaded from the Icon website, and it has to always be running in the background in order for these controllers to work. So if we take a look at our IMAP software here, here is our little application here, which runs between the controllers and your DAW. And this thing is pretty cool. So over here at the top right-hand side, we have the V1-M, and then you can also drop down to the V1-X. You can have up to 7 of these extenders, by the way, which is really cool. So you can literally have 56 faders in front of you if you wanted to, but seeing as we're only using one, and you can see all the different general settings and whatnot for the controller. And then we can go back to our main, the V1-M. And then we have our button functions here, which we're going to talk about in a bit. So make sure you download the IMAP software, make sure you do your firmware upgrade. And then you can, once we program our touchscreen, I'll show you that in a minute, you can save it as a user default. So when you boot up your system every day, it always comes back to where you left it last, so you don't have to reconfigure things. So we always want to keep this in the background. So just like with the V1-M, the V1-X is an 8-channel extender. And what I really love about the Icon products in general, the only other product I think that does this is the Behringer X-Touch series. And this is a far better build quality than that product line, by the way. Is unlike other DAW controllers on the market, the PreSonus Fader Port, the SSL UF8, and there's others, where basically you can daisy chain multiple of those together, and you can have multiple fader banks. But what you don't get with those other products that you get with this is that with those other products, let's say this VM1 was like your SSL UF8. You can daisy chain 4 UF8s together, but then you have the transport controls and all these things on the right-hand side are duplicated 4 times, which takes up a lot of real estate and quite honestly can get kind of confusing when you're trying to customize the way this thing works for your needs. What I love about Icon is they just make an extender, and it just snaps together. There's 2 holes on the side of the extender and on the V1-M with 2 little magnetic posts, and they just snap together so it looks like one piece of equipment, which looks really pro, really sleek, really cool, and you don't have all the duplicate stuff on the right-hand side here over on the extender. Does that make sense? That is super cool. The only other company that does that, as far as I know, is the Behringer X-Touch. All the other products that I mentioned doesn't do that, and I wish they did. I love that about the Icon products. So on our extender, we have the same functions: record, solo, mute, select, and as we select, you'll see it follows along in Studio One, and as I go right across to the other unit, it goes all the way across. It acts like one big controller, which is wonderful. Really like that a lot. We have our encoders at the top. Everything works exactly the same as it does on the V1-M, and we have these touch sensitive faders, and when you touch them, you'll see it lights up blue. Now, depending on the DAW that you're using, it doesn't seem to do this in Studio One, but when you touch these, I think in Cubase it does this. It'll automatically select the track in the DAW, which is really cool. It doesn't seem to do that in Studio One for some reason. I wish it did. I wish that the track select highlighted when you touch the fader. It doesn't do that, but in other DAWs it does. If someone knows of a way that it does that in Studio One, let me know. I've tried to figure out a way. I can't seem to figure out a way. So that's really cool. And these things, again, feel super, super smooth. They're some of the best feeling faders on all of the DAW controllers that are out there. They're some of the best, for sure. They're on par to my SSL UF8 without a shadow of a doubt. They're really, really nice. They're really cool. So that's the extender. Really simple to set up, and once you have it set up, you have a full 16 channels here. Now in Studio One, for all our Studio One users, if you want to know how to set this up, you'll go into your Studio One preferences menu here under external devices. And right here, you'll see I have a Mackie Control Icon V1-M, which is this unit, which is Icon port 1. And then we have the extender, which is going to be the V1-X here as well. Once we add those in our Mackie Control, these two on top, don't worry about, that's for my SSL stuff. For this, these two are on the bottom. Then if I go to placement, you can just drag and drop the way you want these in order. So if you wanted to have your V1-M with your transport on your left and your extender on your right, you can do that. So that means your transport would be in the center of the two units. That's one way to do it. Or you could do it the way I have it. And as you add more extenders, you'll be able to go ahead and add them the same way, and then use this placement screen to go ahead and drag and drop your stuff. And it works out really, really good. It's really easy. It was really simple. At least in Studio One, it was super easy. And once you do that the first time, every time you boot up Studio One, this works just the way you would expect. So now we have 16 faders here. And everything works just the way you would expect. We have the beautiful LCD screen. And again, I'll take a little iPhone video because over the top here, it doesn't do it justice the way this thing looks on camera here. So let me because if you didn't see the first video, I want to show you this. So let me just play this back so you can see the meters kind of happening. And then I'll go ahead and turn this up a little, and I'll just do a little iPhone video so you can kind of get a close-up view of the way this thing looks. And you can see how beautiful this thing is. And here's our touchscreen, which we're going to talk about in a bit here. But I can tell you that this thing looks very, very high quality, very, very cool in person. Looks really great. Again, touch sensitive. You touch these and you'll see the little blue button lights up here, which is really nice. Again, very, very well designed. Let me try to get a little bit over the top. I know we have an over the top shot already, but here we go. So you can see what we're dealing with here. Okay. So we'll shut that down here. So now, one thing that the most improved part about this product, I feel, is this touchscreen, and that you can, it's already pre-mapped. There's 11 different DAWs that it's pre-mapped to coming right out of the factory. And if we open up our iMap, you'll see all the different DAWs that come with this. And again, if you missed the first video, you can do 3 at a time here. So if you go over to global settings here, our DAW number 1 on the top of the icon here is for Studio One, and then DAW number 2 is for Luna, DAW number 3 is for Cubase, but you have tons of stuff here. Now, when you look at, this is for Studio One here that we're using, obviously. We have really 5 different screens that we can look at here, and they're color coded. So here in the iMap software, you'll see the top one is outlined in a blue color, and that represents this button up here, the function layers, that's blue. The second layer is green. If I go to number 2, you're going to see the text on the screen is going to change. The third one is yellow, which is blank right now. And if we scroll down, we have 2 more. The user group 1 is in purple and user group 2 is in red. Okay, now these are all pre-mapped and a lot of these are duplicates. So what I did and what I'm going to show you is you can just take either the blank one or let's just say go back to number 1 here, scroll up here with our mouse. And here is the way I customized this touchscreen for the most common functions that I use in Studio One. Let me show you what some of those, let me first show you how you do it. All you do is you just take a button that's not already grayed out. If it's grayed out, it means it's already been used. And you just left click and drag it onto the button. So let's say, for example, or you can take one from one of the other layers and bring it into your top layer. So if I wanted my top layer in blue to be my main layer, which is what I did here, let's say on these 2 buttons here, I wanted to add something. I can say, let's go to, we could go to Simply Bars and Beats. I'm just gonna left click and drag that here. And you'll see on the IMAP software and now on the touch screen here, you'll see that it populates. So you're just left click, drag and drop and customize this thing the way you want it to go. Then you just have to minimize it because remember, we have to keep it minimized in the background. Let me show you some of the things that I did here. So on the first one, this is our audio track. So if I hit audio tracks, where all our faders are snapping to all the audio tracks. If I go to audio instrument tracks, I have no instrument tracks in this session, so all the faders come down to 0. If I go to effects tracks, you'll see that the first fader comes up because in this session, we have a drum track here. A drum reverb, and then you'll see this fader will work on this. If I go to my buses, back to audio tracks and go to buses, you'll see again, we have 1 drum bus here that I can select on Studio One. You'll see it in the console here, and that controls our buses. So we can have all our buses come up, all our effects come up, all our instrument tracks come up, everything separate so we can easily find things. And then when I want to go back to audio tracks, I go to audio tracks, everything snaps to, and you'll see the LCD screen will pop to as well. So those are the first 4 buttons that I programmed. So I wanted to make sure that I programmed the first 4 buttons, and you can program into whatever you want. Then when we're on pan here, this gives us the ability, we hit the pan button once, it's going to make sure any track that we select, we can use our encoder and we can use our panning. We can go ahead and double click or just click it once, it'll bring it back to the center. If I hit the pan again, what's gonna happen here is it gives you a way to set your panning, you'll see the panning come up on the display itself. You'll actually see as I'm turning this, you'll see a panning left and right on the screen. So it's just another way to look at it if you want to look at it that way. So I'm going to go back and hit that, and now this way, you're just going to see a little hash mark kind of happen. So it's just a different way to look at it. You can figure that out for yourself. It's pretty straightforward. And then everything snaps right back to audio tracks. Again, the faders feel really smooth, they're really responsive. We talked all about that in section 1. When we come over here, I program the browser. So if I hit the browser, it'll open and close my browser, which is so handy. The console will open and close the console. A track, when I hit track on the LCD, that is going to bring up all the different parameters for the track that I have selected. So in this case, in track 1, the first thing that it shows is to bypass all of the effects that are in the inserts. And I can do that just by pressing the encoder, or I can turn the encoder. Okay, it also allows us to turn on and off the monitor for that track. The input, we can change the input, we can change the output. We can bypass any of the 4 sends that are here as well, which is really cool. We talked about that in the last video. So when you hit track, what comes up on the LCD are all the parameters that you can change with the encoders for the track that is selected. When you want to get back, just hit audio tracks again, or hit panning, and it'll snap right back there as well. Now our sends, if we hit sends, it'll bring up all of our sends. And if I have my, let's say on track 3, I have a send. We have a send level here. What does that do here? I don't think our sends do anything in Studio One. I'm not really sure why. Oh no, I have to hit it again. That's okay, so I have to hit it twice. Hit it once, hit it twice, and now I should be able to control the send level using the encoder. And I can do that here, as you can see on track 3. And on the front of the LCD screen, it it's all right there. It's all right in front of you to check out. So now I can see all of my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sends. I got 5 sends across the 5 tracks in a row here. I can go right across and I can adjust all my send levels with this encoder. Super intuitive. And by the way, like I said in the last video, I have not opened up the user manual a single time to figure out how this stuff kind of works. I kind of figured it all out in 5 minutes as I was working before I came on camera. It is super intuitive. So that's how you kind of program things. And if I want to get back, I just hit send. I go back to pan. All my audio tracks are all right here and everything works as it should. There we go. We also programmed save, so I can save on Studio One. It just saves. I can look at my input section. I can insert a marker if I use my scrub wheel here, my navigation. Oh, that's going to do my tracks here. Sorry. If I'm turning my playhead here with my jog wheel and I say, hey, let me put a marker here. I can insert a marker and there it is. You'll see the marker 2's up there. I also have an undo button, so I can undo that or I can redo that, which is really cool. I can add an insert by doing that if I want to do that. Toggle window will close that window. Whoops. I can add a send if I want to do that. I can open up the channel editor. I can look at the plugin on the selected track and I can toggle all that off with my toggle window. So in 5 minutes, I had all these little things programmed. So what's really cool is you find the things that you use the most that you're clicking around. It's like little hotkeys, little macros, and you can go ahead and you can customize that to your heart's desire. It's really, really cool. Now, the last thing I want to show you is how you can easily use the focus mode to control parameters of a plugin. Now you can also map plugins to the parameters, to the different encoders on this. Maybe we'll do that in another video. That's a lot more cumbersome. And that is something that we did on the Icon QCon Pro X back from a couple of years ago. And I got to tell you, it's kind of clunky. All of these kinds of surface controls, when it comes to plugin control and mapping on encoders, is always kind of clunky. It's not the fault of the device. It's really not built for that. You really need a dedicated plugin controller. Because for example, if you have a plugin that has, 20 different parameters on it, and you only have 8 encoders or 16 encoders, you run out of stuff to do. And then mapping it and then knowing the muscle memory of where everything is, it's not very good. An easier way to do it is with this new focus mode. So let me show you. So for example, let me open up, I have a Pro EQ here, okay? Focus mode is really cool. I'll put this in the center, probably over here so you can see it better, where all you have to do is hover your mouse over the parameter, hit focus down here, and now you can use your jog wheel. Look at that. All you got to do is hover your mouse over the parameter and it automatically takes over. To me, that is way faster than trying to map everything to encoders and then having to program them all, even though you only have to do it once. And then you have to constantly reach over and read all the LCD screen. This is so much easier to me. So much easier. So if you're someone who just wants to grab a parameter here and just tweak away, this is fantastic. Even right here, even choosing stuff in the drop-down menus is really cool, really simple. Really simple. This is a really cool way to do this. So you could do this with any plugin. Doesn't have to be a stock plugin. Let's open up something like the Mo Q here by Kit Plugins. Same thing. I hover over and I just turn the knob. Nice and smooth. It's really fine and detailed, so I can get in there and really get nice and accurate on what I'm doing. It'll also do it on any plugin. Here's Slate Digital's plugin. Over the ratio, and it automatically works. No hesitation, no nothing. To me, that is so much more intuitive than mapping plugins to encoders, although you can do that as well. And it's all in the manual on how to do that. But I like the focus mode much better. And I believe if you're in focus, if you even hover over a fader, you could even do this. Don't know why you would do that when you can just do this, but it doesn't have to be a plugin. It could be anything. You can hover over a solo button. Although that won't work. But you can hover over a send level. Wherever this mouse goes, you can do it. So if you could think about this for a minute, I have the way I have this set up. My mouse is on with my right hand. And then that I'm using the jog wheel with my right hand, which is probably not smart. What I should probably do, think about having a trackpad on your left-hand side or on the opposite hand if you're going to grab the jog wheel with, or you could use a trackpad with your finger, slide over a parameter, and you can use two hands at the same time. Once you get that kind of little finesse down, that could be much faster than having to move a mouse over the parameter. Right? If I had my finger on a trackpad, I could just slide it over and I can be adjusting at the same time with my other hand. That would probably be the way to do it. So I would either have the extender on the right-hand side and use the jog wheel with my left hand and my mouse with my right hand, or trackpad or what have you. But that's really cool. And I can close and open this window just by using the touchscreen. Touchscreen is super responsive too. It's not like some of these other ones where you got to really press on it. Like the old Studio Live mixers by PreSonus, those touchscreens were horrible. You have to hit them and hit them and hit them, and sometimes they would work, sometimes they don't. This super light touch, much just like an iPad, works beautifully. So those are the three things for this video. Once again, the extender, super easy to set up, doesn't take up a massive amount of space on your desk. The biggest thing about this is really the meter bridge, but the meter bridge is just so cool. And I love, again, the fact that they just butt up two against each other and it looks like one piece of equipment, and the way this is all machined and looks, it's really beautiful. If you have the real estate on your desk, I said this in the last video, if you have the real estate, you can, again, you could have up to 7 extenders on this thing. So that's like what, 56 and 8? That's what, like 64 channels. You could literally have a 64 channel console if you had a custom desk, or if, you can have up to a 64 channel console as the centerpiece of your studio. Very, very cool. And just because, again, of the way this looks, and you don't have the duplication of all the transport stuff on all the extenders, it looks like a real mixing console. No other controller does that except for the Behringer, and the Behringer does not have this beautiful meter bridge. And I've done the X Touch Series stuff too. And for the price, they're great. But they're a third of the price of this, and they're not built nearly as well as this thing. This is a high-quality piece of gear. So if you're someone who has the real estate, this is great. And I will say, even in, with Studio One, and I'm sure the other DAWs are as well, compared to the QCon Pro X, there was a lot more fiddliness. I know that's not really a word. It was a lot more fiddly. It was a lot more clunky. Sometimes things would work, sometimes things wouldn't work. Things were kind of skipping all over the place. It wasn't seamless with Studio One. The way this new one is. This V1-M and V1-X, like I said, I didn't even crack open the manual. It was super easy to set up. It's super easy to figure out. If you took some time to read the manual, you could really squeeze the life out of this thing and really get this thing working for you. And because it looks and feels the closest thing to a kind of a real mixer or a real console, I think that's really cool. This is a good product, man. So I hope you found this video helpful for those few little things. Click the link in the description box below. You can go check it out over at Icon, and there's a few other places that sell them. Sweetwater, unfortunately, doesn't sell Icon stuff, but I'll leave a couple of links below where you could pick it up. I think you could pick it up on Amazon, B&H. You might even be able to buy it from Icon's website directly, not too sure. Thank you again, Icon, for sending this to me. I really did enjoy playing with it, and I'm really impressed. Really, really, I'd say 10 out of 10 as far as the quality of the upgrade over the QCon and the Pro X. And if you have the QCon Pro X and you like that, you're wondering, is this really an upgrade? It really, truly is. Really, truly is. So anyways, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. As I said at the beginning, I want to give you something else for free for sticking around. So make sure you go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Get that free mixing course. It's right on the homepage. You can't miss it. $100 my gift to you just for visiting Home Recording Made Easy. Take that course. If you like my style of teaching and you want to take more of my training, I have a whole online school from beginner, intermediate, through advanced, recording, mixing, mastering, EQ, compression, partridge in a pear tree, and everything else. Any course you want to take on my website, I want to give you 25% discount coupon code. That coupon code is YouTube25. You put that in at checkout, I will take 25% off anything on the website. And until the next video where we take a look at some more cool gear for the home studio, I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Thank you so much for watching me, everybody. I'll see you guys in the next video.